The Wind Up podcast turns 1 year old. I'm Jason.
And I'm Trent. We're here on an unfiltered, unapologetically unprofessional wine journey. What we're saying here, Jace?
Our saying is drink more, try more, learn more. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. 1 year. I cannot believe we've reached this milestone.
I can't believe it as well. I guess that's the sign of a true friendship, that we can still bear with each other for 1 year. It's important to share those wins and milestones in our life. And it's important to share this moment in terms of 1 year.
Yep.
I guess from 2 years ago at Easter, when we had this kind of idea, it's since then it's kind of grown from, it's evolved, right, to what it is now, to something I think that we're both really, truly proud of.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't be made possible without the support from our family, also community as well. And we thought that it would be good to celebrate that with a very special wine today. We do have a saying that we don't really talk about Bruno, but we are going to talk about Bruno today.
I don't know if that's our saying, but it's certainly a saying. What have we got here, Trent?
Courtesy of Marc Malouf from Wine Worth Writing About, or iHeartWine. He's provided this Bruno Paillard 2012. I'm going to try and pronounce this. Brut, Millesime, Assemblage.
That sounds right to me.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, anyway. He said that this was champagne at another level.
Wow.
And we are at that another level as well. So I thought it'd be the perfect wine to kind of mark this momentous occasion of 1 year of the Wind Up. We can talk about the wine a bit later, but we might just go through a few questions in reflection.
Yeah, and we did want to have a Krug as well, but the wallet said no. So we're trying a different version.
Yeah. So I guess the first thing is that when we first started, we said that we're going to give this wine podcast 1 year, and then we're going to say, we're going to keep continuing and make that as a checkpoint.
Yep.
So in front of the cameras now, Jason, are we going to keep going or are we going to stop it?
I am happy to keep going. I think it's been a great journey. Absolutely. What about you? He's thinking about it. Oh, jeez, this is awkward.
Because of all that love from the community, yes, we're going to keep on going. We're dedicated, we're committed, and we're going to keep going.
Yeah. Let's get to you two.
Okay. I think it's important to reflect sometimes. Like, I try to get some stats for that year that's passed. You know, we've been releasing every single week, no break for the wicked.
Yeah.
Rain, hail, shine, through sickness of ourselves, our kids, family. We've still been pushing out these episodes.
Yeah.
52 episodes in all. Then just on the base about kind of like 4 hours per episode. That's over 200 hours of editing as well.
Yep.
Long form, short form, reels, everything.
Yeah.
14 food pairing episodes. 10 wine regions that we went through. Just to name a few: Tasmania, Yarra, Beechworth, Southern Highlands, Canberra, Barossa, Clare, Hunter, McLaren Vale, Orange, and a lot more to come. Over 200 Instagram posts. Wouldn't be possible without the support of our loved ones, pushing out some of those reels, and also ourselves as well. Yeah. And also 9 featured guests. Who would have thunk it, back 1 year ago that would have achieved so much? Yeah,
honestly, a year ago, I thought it'd just be you and I just cracking open some wine and having a chat, but it's so much more than that. Absolutely.
There was one stat that I didn't get, was how much money was spent on wine, but I didn't want to know.
I don't want to know either. And certainly the producers don't want to know. Let's not bring that one up.
So, I don't know, is there any questions that you want to ask me before I start asking you a couple of questions?
Yeah, sure. I think the stats have been amazing, but we're not doing this for the stats. It is that wine journey, trying to share with the community what it is that we've learnt. And so wanted to find out, what were a couple of things, 1 or 2 things that you've picked up through this wine journey that without doing this podcast, you probably wouldn't have known?
Yeah. There's probably 2 main things that I kind of picked up. One is knowledge. Yeah. And the second thing is around the sense of community. So when I talk about knowledge, I talk about the knowledge of the wines, the winemaking process that we've kind of gone through, from, oak, impact on wines, or whole bunch, or on lees, kind of understanding that, what it means about different soils, how that impacts the wine. That's been a big kind of growth and knowledge, and also the winemakers as well, and just speaking to them. Other one is that kind of resonates with me is when we spoke to Brendan the wine animal said that, the more you explore and think you know, the less you actually know. So that's so true.
Yes.
In the sense that as you kind of start kind of picking away that kind of seam, like more and more kind of unravels.
Yeah.
And I guess sometimes it's just personal growth and knowledge as well. Like initially, it's a big world out there. Sometimes it can be very overwhelming and very apprehensive in terms of how you kind of share your thoughts. You could be picking up, cooked tomatoes, but you just don't want to say it. But you just say it because often you might even surprise yourself, and that's knowledge. Community is around how beautiful it has been for everyone to reach out and connect, whether it be through Instagram, through YouTube, through the DMs. Really surprised and honored.
Yeah.
Winemakers, wineries, general public, just sharing their stories and feeling connected in the wine journey itself. That kind of fun and unprofessional wine journey. Like, first thing here, it always wasn't about, a kind of a pretentious kind of where we're going to tell you everything about wine. It was a very unpretentious journey in terms of how we're going to go about it. It was always about fun.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things there, and I do want to touch on where we started off and not being pretentious. But for me, things that I'd learned, there's probably two. I didn't realize there's so many bloody grape varieties of wine out there. I thought, there's probably about 10 or 11. God, there's like 2,000 or something ridiculous.
More than Shiraz and Chardonnay.
Exactly. So through this podcast, we were able to find out about Brachetto. I sounded a bit Italian there. That was all right.
Yeah.
Or the other one, Tagaji. What was that? Tokai?
Tokai, yeah. Okay. I was thinking, which Japanese grape varietal that was?
Yeah, exactly. And also anise. I haven't had that either. But it's just to your point around, there's so much knowledge and diversity out there within the wine industry still to pick up. I've learned there's so many more grape varieties out there. Probably the other thing that I'd learned, which is why we were starting this journey, is that wine is not for the snobby people out there. Everyone in the community, all of the wine industry, there hasn't been one idiot that I've met where I've gone, mate, you're just some snobby dude just trying to make. Except, am I an idiot? No, I'm a legend. What are you talking about? I haven't met anyone in the industry like that, which was great to know, because like we always said, there's this perception the industry is really snobby. It's not. It's just people that love wine. Yeah.
No, that's beautiful. And I'm just going to put a question towards you as well. Through this journey, what's been the biggest surprise for you?
Biggest surprise for me? It's probably the support. You were touching on it earlier. I did not think anyone would want to listen to what a bunch of amateurs have to say or their journey about wine, but the community has been really supportive, giving us tips, giving us ideas of different wines to taste, just sharing that knowledge, which was completely surprising given, we're a bunch of people from corporate backgrounds, nothing else. Yeah. What about you?
The cost, maybe. But then I kind of knew that. I guess the other surprise around, again, the positive feedback from everyone. The encouragement saying, great work, love your work.
Yes.
And that kind of difference maker that I think that we are providing in terms of making it fun and approachable. Again, there's no kind of pretentiousness to anything that we kind of do around wine. And kind of breaking down those barriers, as you always say.
So there's a whole heap of questions that we need to get into, but we are also here to celebrate. So we do want to try the wine, and we've got in front of us 2 different glasses to try this champagne.
Why is that, Jace?
There's been a lot of discussion about how champagne should not be drunk from a flute.
Yeah, not the instrument?
Not the instrument, the glass, the wine glass itself. And so we wanted to give it a track while we're doing our 1-year anniversary. What's really the difference between the two? And so we've got a regular glass, the universal, and we've got the decisive flute glass here. And there is a difference actually when I'm looking at it. The bubbles are in the flute glass. They're not in the regular one. There's this one stream popping up that I can't actually see in the universal glass. Why is that? I don't know why. I don't know if you know the reason.
It must be something to do with the shape of it that keeps those bubbles coming up. But for me, it's like, again, this this is bigger, which means it's bigger on your nose, or it's smaller on your nose. And for me, it's just like, this just feels more open. This feels so much more closed.
Yep.
And just on, I don't know, just the mouthfeel on this one feels better as well. It kind of goes in your mouth, kind of goes right across your mouth, where this one feels a bit more centered. So it doesn't, you have to kind of work for it to kind of get across your palate. So for me, I think the Universal's better than the Flute. The Flute looks more elegant.
Yeah.
But then the Universal kind of wins it for me. What's your thoughts?
I completely agree. I think just on the smell, you can get more of the expression from the fruit and the champagne itself. But also, I've got a big nose and it bloody goes into the flute itself. It's very awkward. It's like my nose gets stuck in the flute. This is very inconvenient. Why are people drinking from this?
Obviously, you're not trying to get on the nose. It's probably more longer, taller, more elegant to look at.
Yeah. Just get that bubble, I think.
I know, get that bubble. For me, it's like, this one wins it.
Ooh, what a statement that you did by that.
There we go.
And the way you said that, I will as well. So much expression. But we wanted to try the wine, and we'll keep on having it as we talk through. Probably got a few more questions, Trent.
Favorite episode?
Yep.
What's your favorite episode of the
It has to be the episode with Mary Quartz.
Which episode though?
Oh God. Yeah, okay, that's decisive. I would say the durian one. You know why?
Why?
Because in the first episode that we did with him, I said something really dumb, like cooked tomatoes, and it was so embarrassing that I never want to repeat that in my life again. But also, I thought with the durian episode, we brought something a bit different to the table. Merrick was fantastic. He brought some great wines to us, but probably a wine pairing with durian isn't something that he always does. So I thought we had an opportunity to do something new, and just the dynamic of the episode was great. What about you?
That was exactly the same episode that I picked as well, the Merrick durian wine pairing.
Yeah.
And the reason for that one is I always love food.
Yep.
And the other one was I just loved all the food pairing episodes. But specifically around the Merrick one, obviously, because also then mixed, Merrick Watts, great guy, great personality, with also durian. There's also very different as well.
Yeah.
So I found that one most enjoyable. But in general, I just loved all the food pairing episodes.
Yeah. Okay. So if you were to take away that durian one, the second best pairing, which one sticks out in your mind?
Oh, breakfast in bed was pretty good.
that was a weird episode as well. Two guys having some wine in bed. Why not?
As you do.
What about I had a question about we've visited a few different regions, and I haven't been to so many bloody wine regions in my life until we did this podcast, which is great. We've done most of Australia. I think we just need to hit Brisbane. We need to hit Granite Belt.
Yeah, Margaret.
Well, Margaret, I visited at the start of the year, but I wasn't on the podcast. But yeah, also Margaret together would be good. Out of all the different wine regions, did you have a favorite?
Clare.
Wow, that was a quick response. Why was that?
I love the little town, and also love the wines.
Yeah.
I think one was that kind of transition from where we started. I think that we liked a certain type of wine. And for me, it was around Cabernets, maybe a bit of Shiraz.
Yeah.
And then it went through to Rieslings and Pinots. Then it became cool climate wines, and then discovered Clare.
Yeah.
Around the cool climate Shirazes and Cabernets, and also Rieslings from around the Clare Valley. I mean, everything's so different and floral and aromatic.
Yeah.
And lighter as well. And that's the wines that I like now. So that's my favorite wine area, wine region.
I was half expecting you to say Beechworth. Why not Beechworth, out of curiosity?
Oh,
because I didn't get the opportunity.
That's probably a close second. That's a close second.
It's pretty close. Yeah, okay. We need to make that Beechworth trip. Yeah.
I think maybe Clare, because it felt like a journey to like 3 hours from Barossa. And it's like a journey to this location where it just feels like, going to, was it Mordor or something like that, and discovering the ring.
Lord of the Rings. I was like, I don't remember that region. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Somewhere special.
Yeah.
I agree. Mine was Clare as well. I think that opportunity to be able to watervale hotel and try all of those different icons. I always thought of Claire as just the place to go for Riesling.
Yeah.
But that showed me so much more. Even the Rosé, even the Shiraz, even the Malbec.
Yeah.
Really great, different varieties on how to make wine. It was delicious. And it was just this small place that, I don't know, it felt like it'd been a bit untouched.
Yeah. Definitely. I'm going to go a bit more narrower to wine region. Favorite wine?
Oh, gosh. That's hard because it changes. It actually changes all the time.
Yeah.
And so favorite wine, probably the one that blew my mind, and I actually haven't had much of it, is the Beechworth Chardonnay.
Sorenberg.
Oh, sorry. The Sorenberg from Beechworth. Yeah. And I think we did one episode of it. And we carved the rest, which is good because we don't want to be drinking too much. But it really stuck in my mind, kind of the volume and the texture of that, and also the minerality around it. It was just one of those wines I kept on thinking about. And I was fortunate that you and the producer were able to find some more so that I could try some. But surprisingly, it was that, and I didn't have much of it, but it stuck in my mind. What about you?
Many to choose from. A couple of the highlights was the JJ Prum that we had, the 2009, the Killer Canoon Oracle Shiraz, and we did the masterclass. I thought that was also really good as well.
Yes.
The Laird, we did the tasting at Torbreck. The Sorenberg, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
The 87 Yarra Yearing special as well. But the one that for me is like the wine was the 2000 basket press that we had with Merrick Watts.
Oh, yeah.
Both in terms of taste, but also the moment as well.
Yep.
Having that.
Definitely can't beat that moment. That's probably the one that I said there was cooked tomatoes. So I'm trying to forget about that one.
And, I put a few kind of points around why I picked that one. It was because for me, it was like the confirmation of our growth from where we were. It's symbolic in terms of the support, going out and getting Merrick onto the podcast.
Yep.
And it's also symbolic in terms of how it creates that connection with people.
Yep.
So, yes, the wine was great, but also just that moment and the meaning behind that wine.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true. It was kind of one of those occasions where it was a special wine and it was a special interview. And how on earth did we get to do that? It was like, wow, surreal. Yeah.
Keep going?
Keep going. I wanted to bring us back to the genesis of the podcast. Do you remember filming the first 1 and 2 episodes?
I do.
We never released them, and there was a reason for that.
They were pretty poor.
They were pretty shocking. What do you remember about those that would be different to what we've done where we're at right now?
A lot more structured.
Yep.
A lot more professional in terms of the setup, how we've grown. It's not there because there's budget constraints, but it's so much better. In terms of what we know in terms of knowledge and how we can talk about the wines, also a lot better as well.
Yeah.
It's just so much.
I'll look back at it and in the community, let us know if you want to see some of the dodgy first episodes 1 and 2. We've intentionally held it back, but the concept for it all started through these Easter gatherings, and those 2 episodes we were really deliberating about the name. Do you remember some of the names that we were considering?
Wind me up before you go.
I feel like we actually had a voting board on what they were.
What the wine?
You said that multiple times. What the wine? Every day you'd be saying that's the one to go
Why
for.
not?
Yeah. Vine.
Wine not.
Wine and Vine was another one.
Yeah.
But the one that I really liked was another friend of ours suggested was Wine Wankers. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
And we did anytime we'd say something a bit wanky, we'd show a symbol representing someone being a bit wanky.
What's that symbol?
And I won't share that symbol. I might put it up on the graphic. We'll see a bit later. But I'm so happy that we didn't go down that route because it would have been a different kind of show.
Yeah. Hey, I talked about how my palate has changed in terms of the wines that I like. What's the wine that you like now? How has it changed from when you started to what wines you like now?
Yeah, when we interview people, a fair few people have said it changes over time. And that is absolutely the journey. We started off with, I like Cab Sav and Shardy, and then it evolved to Pinot. And and then it got onto a different track around Cool Climate Shiraz. But right now, I'm enjoying, and I want to have more of for the whites. I want to have more of the Chablis, and that kind of the Sorenberg Chardonnay kind of put me along that track. What else is out there? And then we had a wine, a Barbera that we had for a show that's coming up as well. And it just showed me a different fruity expression, something a bit light, good pairing with food, where I thought, why am I not having more of this? I want to explore that. But what about you?
As I mentioned, it is more from those kind of bigger wines to now more elegant, more floral, more aromatic type of wines. Yeah. The Cool Climate Shirazes. Like I'm talking about another question I have is around like, where do you want to go for year 2? And for me, it's around Heathcote or Heathcote. Yeah, Macedon Ranges. Yes, you know, around this kind of cooler areas, a bit more. Again, cool climate wines. Yep, that I think that I'm kind of more leaning towards now.
Yeah. Heathcote is on the list. How far away is that from Sydney? Do you know?
Well, 6 hours of Beechworth, and from there to Heathcote's for another an hour.
An hour. Okay, so relatively close.
Ain't that far.
Yeah, anyone from Heathcote, let us know if it's a good place to visit and try some wine.
And there are some other cool areas that I see are doing wine as well. Kangaroo Island.
They have wine there?
They have wine there. Granite Belt you mentioned. Yes. Also, we still have to do a New Zealand episode as well. Yeah. Just putting that on record. Yeah,
that's on record from last year as well. So that's not going to go away. Yeah, completely agree. In terms of interviews, Merrick was high up there. If we're thinking about who you'd want to interview in the future, is there anyone on the hit list where you're like, God, that'd be a great interview to pick their brain?
There's one on both our minds, Aaron Larkin.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that'll be very interesting, and it'll be really great if we can get some of those winemakers to tell their story. Like Wendouree or Rick from Gioconda, like the ones that are so closed, but then if we can be that, I guess, more open, more comfortable type of podcast to actually then tell the story around some of those wines and wineries. Yeah. It'd be really cool.
There are some wineries out there with so much mystery around them. I'd love to break that shroud of mystery and just see what's there. Yeah. Erin Larkin, absolutely. Erin Larkin, I used to watch her before the podcast just to try and understand a bit more about wine. And it's the way that she talks about it. She's so excited about it, but the terminology that she uses is just different. It's also something that I could relate to. So, that'd be great. Erin, anytime, let us know if you want to join the podcast. It'd be an absolute pleasure to have you on. Yep.
The other one that was also mentioned to my wife, it'll be really cool if we can do it as well, is if we can go overseas. Yes. Through to Bordeaux, Burgundy, and do some.
What did your wife say about that one?
Let's do it.
Wow.
And then I'm sure Jason will be up for it because I've already spoken to your wife.
Yeah.
Did Bordeaux, Burgundy, meet with some of those producers and start to tell their stories, right, around their wines. That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome. I just glanced at my wife and she was shaking her head like that wasn't approved. We got to look at it, but it would be an amazing thing to do. Yeah. Absolutely. If we think about any regrets on the show, any moments where you thought, well, it's been a year, maybe we should have done this a bit different. Any goofball moments where you're like, nah, watching myself back, I'm like, nah, that's not good.
Well, I think every episode that I watch myself back or listen to myself, I feel a bit awkward. Yeah. I don't think that will ever go away. Yeah. But I don't think there's been any regrets in terms of any of the episodes. Yeah. There's that tattoo on my back that says no regrets, I think.
Is there a tattoo? No. Trent the gangster. That's what he's got. I think there's been some really interesting moments that we've had to handle and a lot of technology challenges. We've had a few interviews where it's a great interview and like the camera would die or the microphone would die. Henley Farm really stands out in my mind because that actually helped us in our journey. We're having a great interview with Stuart Mossman on site at Henley Farm and he was sharing a lot of great knowledge and the bloody mics weren't working. Do you remember that? Batteries died and it was basically, I think we got like 7 minutes worth of the interview. But those mistakes helped because it kind of helped us find alternate ways to get around it. And we found some great AI software that could lift the audio from our iPhones and our phones to make it happen. And I kind of treat this journey like that. There's so many things that we've learned and picked up, whether intentionally or accidentally, that we can learn from, and whether it's through wine or whether it's through podcasting, it's really been something that's helped us grow.
Yeah. We've been tasting this wine a bit. What are you thinking of it?
Yeah, it's not the standard Chardonnay in my mind. So Marc, what was Marc's comment? It's definitely
another level.
Another level. You know what stands out? I love the smell of it and the yeastiness of it.
Yeah.
But there's this kind of caramel kind of scent to it. It's almost like they've caramelized some peaches.
Like,
so there's some sweetness and some honey, but there's fruit to it.
Like have you had an apple tartatan?
Yes. The moment you said that, like that.
It's a bit like that.
I agree.
It comes through with that kind of like, he said it here, like he said raw shortcut crust pastry, but I actually think it actually feels like that kind of buttery pastriness around it with the kind of, caramelized apples and the kind of sweetness that comes through in terms of smell, but not so much taste.
And if you compare, like, the other thing through this journey is that I've actually started to appreciate champagne prior to this. Like, who drinks
champagne, man?
Yeah. This is fantastic champagne. But prior to this, I was like, what's so special about champagne? The bubbles just go to your head and you get drunk. But there's a lot of complexity and different flavors in this, and you can get this in the finish. You yelled out good champagne just then. That's the length coming through. What happened? What were you tasting?
It keeps on traveling. But it's that kind of freshly baked bread that kind of comes through. Has that really dense, bready, toasty, I think just like, I don't know, like countryside France or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I get that.
I feel like some foie gras, something like that with it.
And there's some funkiness that's coming through with that yeast. But that finish, as you were talking, breathing some oxygen in, that finish is amazing.
It does say in the descriptors from Marc Malouf says, captivating, complex, elegant and fine for the cellar, or something special, of which today is
1 year of the wind up. No, that finish just keeps on going. It doesn't stop as I'm having it. Marc, thank you. Thank you for the recommendation.
Should we wind it up there?
Yeah, I was just saying, if for the future goals of the episode, as we wind it up, you've talked about where you want to visit. Is there any other goals that you want to hit coming up? Well, you basically said who you want to interview.
I think who, but definitely I like to get more people from winemakers and community onto it and have the kind of people connection for future interviews. And that's why I want to kind of take it. Yeah. Now that we've created the foundations in terms of a good community, we have a good base now kind of build on to then start to kind of talk and relate and share more memories.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Anyone from the community that wants to have a chat, share their thoughts on the industry or talk about their experiences with wine, reach out, let us know. We're always happy to have a discussion and find out more and learn from you. For me, coming from a corporate background, I always like setting goals and things that can determine whether or not you're on the right track. And to me, I found that there's the Wine Community Communicators Awards Best Wine Blog or Podcast. And I want us to jump in that loop where there's a lot of other good wine podcasters out there. And we're absolutely just a bunch of amateurs. But to be part of that, and if we could get in there and even recognize, that'd be fantastic, because it shows our journey on both a wine and a podcast level. And it's kind of a yardstick on where we can grow and not.
I think that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
So Trent, I wanted to say thank you for doing this 1 year journey with me. You said at the start we haven't had a fight. It's true.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it hasn't been a hard slog. There's been a lot of effort put in your side, our wife's side, our family's side.
Your side.
In my side as well. All of us kind of just jumping in here. But I think it shows through the output that we're just loving what we're doing. We're learning. Thank you very much. Cheers. To that. And so that's probably us at the wind up.
Yeah, 1 year down, many more years to come.
All right. Comment below if you've got any ideas on what future episodes you'd like us to take. But apart from that, as we like to say here, drink more, try more, learn more. Thanks all.